Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another trade draft general Collingwood news update. And let's start with Mr. Lockie Sullivan. There is the talks that he's in a bit of strife with his position at Collingwood and has been asked to wait for the trade period to do what it does best before Collingwood can give him a definitive answer as to whether he will be on the list. Right now, he's a Category A rookie, so really, if you get delisted from there, I mean, you're not going to be making it back onto an AFL squad, you would have thought. He's in a similar boat with Kruger and McInnes, whereas Kruger and McInnes, they are on the senior list. So if they do get delisted along with Lockie Sullivan, you could argue Kruger and McInnes will either find a club elsewhere or they'll jump onto the rookie list. That's what I guess will happen. The question is, will all three get delisted? I don't think so. I think two of the three, at most. I would guess. We haven't heard much about Bytel, so it may seem that he's in a safe position right now. But yeah, Lockie Sullivan certainly in a precarious position. He averaged 12 touches. Half of his touches were contested. Started really well, but just looked a touch off game speed at times. So if he does remain at the club, then he's got things to work on in the off season, and I think we'll see a better version of him. It's just, well, if we can segue this into Matthew Kennedy from Carlton, if he's made available, then I guess that's Sullivan, the writing's on the wall. So he'll be really hinging his career on that outcome. Matt Kennedy, we know we've got Harry Perriman now, who is a defensively minded midfielder and will be a very much defend first midfielder going in to assist Jordan De Goey, Pendlebury and Nick Dacos and the likes. Whereas I think Kennedy will be a real hustle bustle, contested ball, rotate forward as well, which we've seen Lockie Sullivan do this year. He's played a lot of forward minutes. And I think Matthew Kennedy, if he comes to Collingwood, I don't imagine Kennedy would be asking for 70-30 midfield time when you factor in that we now have Perryman in the team as well. So I think that would be unrealistic. So we'd probably have to wait and see what Kennedy is actually wanting. Those talks are sort of simmered, but I think there is a possibility that something will transpire then, and Kennedy could find himself at Collingwood. Who else have we got? Well, do the Pies still want Dan Houston as well? We know there's a bit of a muck about happening with Carlton trying to source first round picks from other clubs because they don't want to give their current first rounder up, something around that sort of conversation, and maybe might be deterring Port Adelaide away from negotiating with Carlton and looking at North Melbourne. I don't imagine Dan Houston would want to end up at a club like North Melbourne. I would suggest he would even prefer to stay, but he has elected a Victorian club, so North Melbourne will be within that pool. But I read an article, it was either on the Herald Sun page or the AFL page, and I did try to find it, I couldn't find it, but it seems like while Collingwood is still trying to chase up that early first round pick from Gold Coast, pick 12, which will end up being 16, 17, 18 with all the compensation happening, even with Perryman, right? Like Perryman, the GWS Giants will get a band one compensation, so they'll probably get a pick around 15, 16 for compensation for losing him as an unrestricted free agent. So we'll see if we can bundle up that pick from Noble along with a future first and then get sent back a second rounder for Dan Houston. Would I personally go for Houston? Probably not. I don't know. I'm a bit averse to that. I'd rather not go down that route. I'd rather us... I mean, we saw what Fly said. He doesn't want to use his picks in the draft, despite it being a deep draft. He wants to get players, and if he's going by that method, then best believe that pick we get from Noble is definitely going to go towards a player in the market. And the fish we're fishing from, the pond we're fishing from right now is quite small. So there's Dan Houston, who's a highly alluring option in this state of the market. There's not a lot there. So I imagine that's probably the player we're going to push hard for. We pushed hard for Perryman. We got what we wanted there. We missed on Barras. We missed on Battle. We missed on Keane. So, and actually, let's transition into key defensive stocks. I mean, what does it leave us with? We got Tomlinson and Sam Frost. Frost from Hawthorn, Tomlinson from Melbourne, both options. Frosty, I believe we would have to trade for. Give me one moment. But Tomlinson is a free agent. So let's go with regard to Sam Frost. I think he's out of contract next year. I would much rather go for Granger Barras, but we haven't seen him play footy in a long time. So Granger Barras is out of contract and he's being made to wait as well for an opportunity. Tomlinson is an unrestricted free agent. So we haven't heard much about Laverde. Tim Membry's probably going to the Lions now that Danaher's retired. That will be a perfect fit for Tim Membry. I think we're going to end up with someone like Tomlinson. And then once again, let me just check 25, Sam Frost. So he's a non-free agent next year. So either way, we're going to have to give up picks for him. I would prefer to go for a Tomlinson or a Granger Barras over Frost. I just don't like the idea of giving away picks for Frost, who's like 31, 32. Another player who's come into the conversation late, well, a couple players actually. Let's start with Connor Stone from GWS. He's about 190 centimetres. He's that medium to taller size sort of defender, but also kicked 16 goals in the first 7 matches of the VFL this year. And he has been advised that he's welcome to look at options elsewhere in this trade period. So he didn't end up playing a single game in 2024, but he certainly showed some ability on both ends of the ground. So do I dare say he's the Nathan Murphy replacement? No, but he's 21 years old. What's he played? He's played 5 games in 21, 1 game in 22, 3 games in 23, 24. He's played 4 games. He's really battled. He's really battled at GWS, but there's a lot to like. He was a sub a few times later in the year this season, and at 22 is he worth a stab in the dark? What do the Collingwood scouts know more about him than maybe we do? I'd like to hope they've done their research on him, but that's just another option who could probably play as that. Look, 190 is maybe not second key tall, so it's probably the only thing that would steer me away from him, but definitely worth consideration. And then another player from Gold Coast who we could probably get in this John Noble trade, right? To a certain extent, is Braden Fiorini. So he has been up and down. He's had an up and down career at Gold Coast and really never reached the heights of proper consistency. He played 21 games in 2019 and got 18 coaches' votes and averaged 23 disposals in 2021. Is he someone worth looking at age 27? I mean, is he out of contract? I'm not too sure. But I imagine, let's have a look. I will quickly be diligent here and have a look. Yeah, he would be an unrestricted free agent next year, so I imagine Gold Coast will be keen to trade him now so that they can get something out of the trade. That's what I would imagine. But for those who have seen Fiorini, let us know in the comment section. Do you rate him? Is he worth consideration? He's played bulk midfield time in his tenure at Gold Coast in 2021, 51% centre bounces. What else were we seeing? He averaged close to 10 contested possessions a game. So let me know. I'm intrigued to hear what everybody else thinks about that. But yeah, he's probably worth some sort of thought. We've got Perryman now. Kennedy's in the conversation. Peatling has nominated the Crows. We know about Bailey Smith. We know Alex Davies has extended at Gold Coast. So these are sort of the players we're left with now. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think and we'll go from there. Go Pies.